Welcome, old schoolers. This is Let's Talk Old School with Magic. I decided to do this show because I wanted to do something good for those who love old school and inform you, educate you, and entertain you all at the same time. And I find that a lot of people love old school music but don't know enough about the music that we grew up and listened to. We only hear the songs, but there's stories behind these songs, there's information behind the song, and a lot of people are interested in more than just hearing the songs. They want to know the stories behind the songs. They want to know the stories about their favorite artists and what was going on at this particular time. And that helps create more nostalgia with the music. So I decided to do this show to try to help, to educate, and do whatever I can to make old school the best. Because for me, I don't just listen to old school, I live it every day. Old school music is a part of my life. And anything associated with old school is something that I cherish and I appreciate, you know, and old school music is the best. So I decided to help people out. One of the things I wanted to do was to really educate people on what was going on when we were growing up, you know, in terms of record sales and stuff like that. We hear stuff, but a lot of times we don't understand it, or a lot of people don't understand it. I kind of personally made it my interest to find out about the music industry, and I did that through reading as much as I can about it, Billboard magazine every week, and getting the insights into what it really meant, what things meant. Because when I was growing up, I heard the terms platinum and gold and triple platinum. Never understood what they were. But the more I dig into it, the more I understood. Let's first start with gold. When you hear a single or an album or a CD go gold, that means it sold 500,000 copies or 500,000 copies. That's what gold means. When you hear an album go platinum, that means it sold 1,000,000 copies. You have an album or single, that's a platinum album, that's 1,000,000 copies of that have been sold. You heard the term triple platinum. Triple platinum means 3 million plus records or singles or CDs or even downloads have been done. And when you've hit the diamond status, that means you've sold 10 million plus records. Just wanted to let you know about that because, a lot of times people hear these terms, but they don't understand them. But I hope that I cleared up that for you today. And hopefully you'll get to have a better understanding when you hear it associated with some of your artists and these figures we hear on documentaries and stuff that are like, wow, all of that and this and that, but it gives you a better understanding. So remember, 500,000, 500,000 means gold, 1,000,000 means platinum, and anytime beyond that, triple platinum, 3 million plus sold, 5 million plus sold, that's 5 times platinum. That's basically what it is. Now, I also wanted to help you out and let you get an understanding of some of the artists that we grew up listening to and what their status is as far as sales go. I came across a list of the best-selling music artists, and this list had some new artists on it, but I was only focusing on the old school artists. So you may hear me jump and leave some certain numbers out. That means that artist is more new school. I'm concentrating on old school artists, anywhere from the 50s up until the 90s. And even some of those artists may have gone and passed on, or they're still dominating the charts. Here is what they are on the best-selling music. That's why I say best-selling, because they sold the best. I'm not going to do a countdown. I'm going to give you it from number one on. And at number one, of course, is everybody's favorite, the Beatles. Now, when I say certified units, it means that it's a combination of gold and platinum singles and albums that they've sold. When I say claim sales, that is what the record company have told the industry. Sometimes the record sells less, sometimes it sells more, but the record companies never give you the truth about how much an album really sold. That's why Prince had a problem with them, because Prince's problem was they were never truthful with him about what his albums were really selling, especially Purple Rain. So that's here was why he became the symbol or the artist formerly known as Prince, because he wanted to get the right information as to what his music was selling, record and otherwise, and what he should be entitled to compensated. Now, the record company does this for a couple of reasons. Sometimes when they tell you a record sold more, they do that to mislead the public, so the public will go to say, well, if this is selling, I might as well buy it and have it in my collection. Then sometimes they lie, lie, like they lie and say didn't sell that much. They'll tell you it sold 5 million when it sold 10 million because they're trying to cheat the artist out of his royalties, his or her royalties. So that's what Prince's problem was, that they were telling him that his albums were selling less than they were so that they would not pay him the royalties he deserved. So here are the lists of best-selling artists. Remember, certified units means all certification, gold and platinum combined over the course of their career. And claim sales is what the record company have told the world they may have sold. So, without further ado, here's the list of the best-selling music artists of all time up to today. Coming in at number 1, the Beatles, with a certified units of 270.4 million and the claim sales of 500 to 600 million. Coming at number 2, Elvis Presley, certified units of 211.5 million with the claim sales of 500 to 600 million. Coming in at number 3, Michael Jackson, with the certified units of 183.9 million and the claim sales of 300 to 350 million. Coming in at number 4, Madonna, with the certified units of 170.5 million and the claim sales of 275 to 300 million. Coming in at number 5, Elton John, certified units of 167.6 million and claim sales of over 250 to 300 million. Led Zeppelin comes in at number 6, certified units of 139.3 million with the claim sales of over 200 to 300 million. Pink Floyd comes in at number 7 with the certified units of 118.7 million and 200 to 250 claim sales. Coming in at number 9, Mariah Carey, 134.7 certified units sold in millions and claim sales of 200 to 175 million. Coming at number 10, Celine Dion, 124.4 million certified units and of course the claim sales of 175 to 200 million. Whitney Houston comes in at number 12 with 112 certified units and the claim sales of 170 to 200 million. Queen comes in at number 13 with 113.7 million certified units and 150 to 200 million claim sales. The Rolling Stones come in at number 14 with 96.6 million certified units with the claim sale of 200 million. ABBA comes in at number 15, 60.6 million certified units and of course 100 to 200 million claim sales. The Eagles, 129 certified units and 150 million claim sales. Now, when I say it without the million, it's still millions. All of these are in the millions. U2 comes in at number 20 with 160 million certified units with the claim sales of 150 million. Billy Joel comes in at 21 with 102.4 million certified units and of course 150 million claim sales. Phil Collins comes in at number 22 with 87.7 certified units in the millions and of course the claim sales of 150 million. Number 23 is Aerosmith, 84.4 million certified units and of course 150 million claim sales. And number 24, Frank Sinatra, 37.1 million certified units with 150 million claim sales. Barbra Streisand comes in at number 25, 97.4 million certified units, 145 million claim sales. Bruce Springsteen comes in at number 28, 101.8 million certified units and a claim sales of 120 million. And last but not least, At number 29, the Bee Gees, 67.3 million certified units with 120 million claims sales. Yeah, so I'm just trying to educate you on the music industry, how things are, and when you hear certain things now, if you listen carefully, you will definitely understand a little more about it. But if you want to know anything, if you're interested in anything, just hit me up, soulsonicproductions9@gmail.com. That's it. And I'll be happy to look up any artist that you're interested in and pass that information on to you via the program, and we can have a lot of fun. So sit back, relax, as we get ready to transport you into old school music world, and enjoy the rest of the show. I'm Mr. Magic. Let's keep this party rolling. If you're a fan of 90s R&B hip hop music, then this next news is going to be something just for you. You remember the group Escape? Yeah, sure you remember them, right? Yeah, that's Candy and Tiny. Candy went on to do the Housewives of Atlanta. Tiny was married to T.I. And apparently for a long time, Tiny and Candy couldn't get along. They had a beef. They were feuding. They weren't talking to each other. They broke up about 18 years ago. And, that was the end of that. Because, they came out, had about 3 albums, and then all of a sudden, there was no more Escape. So, I wondered for a long time. Then up pops Candy on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then all of a sudden, Tiny was everywhere with T.I. So, they were doing different things. But apparently, after all these years of feuding, they had a conversation, they sat down, and they put all of their hate in the past, as Tiny revealed. So we've grown. We're going to let bygones be bygones, and everything else after this is going to be our legacy. So they finally had their first big talk in years, back on February 27th. And they said it was emotional. They had a real conversation that, it took a long time and they hadn't done in a long time. But, they finally put all of that, squashed everything and got back together and just decided. The other lady from the group, Tasha Scott, when they were on a radio station, wasn't there in the studio, but she went on Instagram and posted a photo of the group getting back together, or back in their heyday from the 90s, and captured it. It's official. Escape is back. Thanks to all of our fans for our prayers and your loyalty. And they're ready to do their thing. So hopefully, in the coming months, in the coming year, something good is going to come out of this for Escape. Remember, Jermaine Dupri was the one who put them out there, wrote a lot of songs for them. But Candy has become a writer in her own, on her own, doing her own thing. She wrote Scrubs, co-wrote Scrubs for TLC. So, she's been doing some damage out there. And if you remember some of their hits, they had songs like Just Kicking It, Love on My Mind. And the last album they had was 1998's Traces of My Lipstick. So, yeah, you remember that song, My Little Secret? Yeah, so, hopefully you're going to hear some good music coming from Escape in the near future. And that's good music for y'all 90s fan and for people who like good R&B hip-hop music. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. So to the ladies out there, glad you squashed the feud and you're moving forward. And hopefully we'll hear some good music from Escape. Love to hear it. It's now time for your old school artist concert update. Yeah, this is some of the artists who will be touring in April and May. So we're going to give you some of their concert dates. And you just go check them out if you're in the area or if you live in that area. You got Charlie Wilson touring in April and May. He's formerly of the Gap Band. He was the lead singer. And of course, he's singing a lot of his solo hits as well as songs that he sang with the Gap Band. So you could definitely check that out. That'll be rolling up on your screen in a minute. Of course, we got Mr. Freddie Jackson, soul balladeer from the 80s. He's also touring in April and May, so you can check out his concert. That'll be rolling up in a minute. And of course, you can check out Kool and the Gang, one of the hottest R&B pop groups of all time, who, for I think for a long time, had the longest stretch of top 10 hits out of any group, pop or otherwise. And they'll be touring in April or May. And of course, we couldn't leave out Michael's brothers, the Jacksons. They'll also be touring in April and May. And I think one of those concerts is going to coincide with Kool and the Gang. So if you're a fan of the Jacksons, if you're a fan of Kool and the Gang, if you're a fan of the Gap Band, plus Charlie Wilson, and of course Mr. Freddie Jackson, we'll be putting up on the screen some concert dates for the month of April and May. You go ahead and check those out. And if you get to go to those concerts, I hope you have a good time. Enjoy, old schoolers. This segment is a dedication to something that was instrumental in the way we viewed music, in the way we enjoyed music, and it changed the total outcome of how music was promoted. Tonight, we have to give our special tribute and dedication to MTV, originally called Music Television. Yeah. It was an American cable and satellite television channel. It was owned by Viacom Media Networks, and it was headquartered in New York City. It launched on August 1st, 1981, and it changed the way we listen to music, the way we watch music, because that's what music became, something to watch. It also showed us what our favorite artists who we heard on the radio, what they looked like. And it was a marketing tool that became such a staple in how music was made, how music was promoted, and how big an artist became. Now, early on, MTV was not friendly to R&B artists or black artists. MTV was just for rock artists. I don't know if that was by design or whether they were just really just not interested in black artists because maybe they didn't think they were marketable, but it was just a rock station. And that's what they promoted, rock music from different labels. But they started in 81. By the end of 82, what was happening in the music industry could not be ignored anymore. They tried. They were kind of forced to change what they played on MTV. And at the beginning, in the early days, in the days when we were growing up, you had disc jockeys or DJs. MTV had VJs, video jockeys. And so they had these jockeys on who would introduce the videos, and then the video would come on and you enjoy it. Now, the early videos were just simple videos with the artists singing their song. It was more of a promotional tool. And then late 82, early 83, that whole concept changed because of one artist, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson came in, made music videos interesting, told a story, had dancing, and it was hard for them to get Michael Jackson on MTV at the beginning, but Epic Records fought for Michael. And one of the things they told MTV was, hey, if you don't play Michael, we're taking off every one of our artists that is being played on MTV. And they fought and finally got Michael Jackson's Billie Jean on, beat it on, and that changed the whole dynamics of how music videos were made, how you promoted them, and the quality went up another notch. And then at the end of 83, Michael Jackson, in cooperation with MTV, created the video Thriller and the making of Thriller, which did something totally different to the music industry because it had never been done before. A music video was just the length of the song. Thriller changed all of that. Now, Thriller, the song is only 5 minutes, no longer than 6 minutes, and the video was 15 minutes. So that was something totally different. But Michael Jackson, MTV rode each other to fame, like Quincy Jones said. And this changed the way we looked at artists, the way we saw artists. Because when we were growing up in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s, before we came across MTV, sometimes you thought an artist was white and they were black. Sometimes you thought an artist was black and they were white. And even with the record companies, they promoted certain artists that way. If they wanted to reach a rock audience with a black artist, they didn't put their pictures on the cover of the album. Motown did it with Tina Marie. It was reversed. Tina Marie was a white artist with a lot of soul, but Motown couldn't promote it to black people if they saw her face at the beginning. So what they did, they put things like a whole garden or something on one of her first albums, and people heard the music. And Tina Marie made great music. And then when she showed up on Soul Train, people found out she was white. But by then they had loved the music, so they didn't really care what color she was. And so that was one of the things that MTV changed. You saw the song and the video, and you knew what your artist looked like. So that was like a whole different experience. And those who grew up in that era, those who grew up watching MTV at its beginning, then after that came BET, VH1. And so when we grew up watching video music premieres were like big events. Michael Jackson was at the top, but there were some artists that started to make great music and great video music. And so we were excited about that. And so we want to just pay a tribute to MTV because it was a part of the change in the dynamics of the way we listen to music. We got to new artists, and then we got to be exposed to artists that we probably wouldn't have been exposed if it wasn't for MTV. So thank you, MTV. You definitely left an impact on all of our lives who grew up in the 80s, because you made us look at music, and that's what I mean, look at music in a different way than when we were just listening to music. And for that, all of us from that generation would like to thank MTV. And now we've come to the segment of the show where we talk about the old school artist of the month. And of course, it could be nobody else for the month of April. It's been a year since his passing, and he left an indelible mark on the music industry. He died last year, April 21st, 2016, and he sold over 1 million records worldwide. He's won 7 Grammys, an American Music Award, a Golden Globe Award, and an Academy Award for the film Purple Rain. You know, we could not be talking about nobody else other than the artist known as Prince. Full name, Prince Rogers Nelson. Oh yeah, he was known as the Purple One, his royal badness, and he left a mark on the music industry that's unparalleled. So, when we talk about Prince, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was given to him in 2004, and it was the first year he was eligible. Some artists have to wait a lifetime for that. He's ranked number 27 on Rolling Stone's top 100 greatest artists of all time, and they consider him to be the most influential artist of the rock and roll era. He was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and developed an interest in music as a young child. He signed a recording contract with Warner Brothers at the age of 18, and in 1978 released his first album. It was called For You. Now, this album, from what I understand, Prince played every instrument: drums, keyboards, piano, any instrument that you hear on that album was all just Prince. No band, no studio band, nothing. Prince did everything all by himself. He followed that up with Dirty Mind, Controversy, and finally hit big payday with the band Revolution when he brought out Purple Rain, the soundtrack, and the movie. So he left a serious mark. Purple Rain was successful, and it spent 24 consecutive weeks atop the Billboard 200, and it sold over 20 million units worldwide. So that's a big accomplishment right there. And in 1993, he had a contractual dispute with Warner Brothers, so he changed his name to A Symbol. And, back then, instead of people saying The Symbol, they would say things like the artist formerly known as Prince, even though Prince was his birth name. So that was kind of interesting to see that, And over the years, Prince just dominated the charts. And even when he weren't dominant, he had music that was still coming out that was different than what other people were doing. And one of my favorite songs by Prince of all time is a song called Mountains from the soundtrack Parade, which was for the movie Under the Cherry Moon, which Prince directed, and it came out in 1986. It wasn't as successful as Purple Rain, but it was a great album, a very good movie, and it brought to me, or for me, one of my favorite Prince songs of all time called Mountains. It was also with the Revolution. So Prince left an indelible mark, and so to you, Prince, we are dedicating this month to you, our favorite old school artist, the legendary Prince. And this is our tribute to you, Prince. Rest in peace. As the month of April winds down, we like to honor somebody from the old school music who, along with her sisters, brought some joy to people. Miss Brenda Jones of the Jones Girls, if you remember that group. They were a trio of sisters from Detroit. And for during half a decade between 79 and 1984, Shirley, Valerie, and Brenda Jones created some of the most glorious soul music around. And on April 4th, 2017, Miss Brenda Jones died after being hit by a car. She was born and raised in Detroit in a gospel singing family. The Jones Girls spent the better part of the 60s and 70s as sought after backing vocals, first regionally and then on a national basis. Their attempts to break through as a singing group on a number of smaller labels, including a brief stint at Curtis Mayfield's Kratom label, failed, and they seemed destined to spend their careers harmonizing behind bigger artists. However, while serving as Diana Ross' backing group during the mid-70s tour, the girls were discovered by Kenny Gamble and were signed to Gamble and Huff's Philadelphia International Records. And I know a lot of you old schoolers remember those names, right? Because, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff produced some of the best soul music of the 70s that were ever put down on wax. The Jones Girls came out of smoking in Philadelphia International Records with their eponymous debut album, and the infectious dance single, You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else. I know if you ever put that on, you know that's a jam. It stormed the pop, soul, and dance charts. They followed that with the beautiful ballad World Melody, a prototypical Philly song with sophisticated arrangements wrapped around their wonderful harmonies. They were both drop dead gorgeous and talented. The Jones Girls were individually accomplished singers, but together their voices were absolutely heavenly. And at Philadelphia International Records, they found the perfect match in the melodic writing and lush productions that Gamble and Huff and Dexter Wansel and Cynthia Biggs provided them. The albums were gems, and they created some of the best music you could ever hear. They had club favorites like Nights Over Egypt, The Sassy, I Just Love the Man. You remember that one? Oh yeah, y'all need to check that out. A timeless cover of the stylistic songs Children of the Night. And then they left Philadelphia International Records for RCA Records in 1984. But the magic was kind of gone. They couldn't recapture what they had at Philly, and they retired in 1985. Shirley Jones, the lead singer, she went on to do a solo recording career, and she had like a #1 hit, Do You Get Enough Love? Remember that one? I'm sure you do. So as you can see, the Jones Girl made an impact on R&B music in the 70s, going into the 80s, and Brenda Jones will be deeply missed by anybody who remember what her and her sisters did for soul music in the late 70s and the early 80s. So to you, Miss Brenda Jones, from all us here who love old school music, we say rest in peace, baby. You've done your job real well, and you left a legacy of good music, soul music, rhythm and blues music that will touch our hearts forever. From all of us who love old school music, this one's for you, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, and now I introduce to you the old school song of the month for April 2017. It's by the one, the only, the incomparable Queen of Disco. You know what that is, right? Miss Donna Summers. Yeah, man. Back in '89, she came out strong and had a song that was big in America, that was big in Canada, that was big in the UK, and it was a 14th and final US top 10 hit. It was also the last time that she had a top 40 hit in her career. But it was a big one. And it was produced by the British Stock Aitken and Waterman team. They also helped her write the song. They were the guys who helped Rick Astley get on the charts with Never Gonna Give You Up and Together Forever. And this one was the biggie for Miss Summers. It's called This Time I Know It's For Real. It's my favorite song by Donna Summer. And I hope if you haven't heard it yet, maybe one day it'll be your favorite too. So without further ado, the old school song of the month by the Queen of Disco herself, who came back strong in 1989, Miss Donna Summer. The song is called This Time I Know It's For Real. Well, old schoolers, that is it for this month. Keeping you up to date with some of the best in old school information, news, and keeping you up to date with your old school artists, if they're alive, tours and concerts and stuff like that. And if you want to find out about any artist that you have as an interest, you're a fan of, been a fan of, mostly your whole life or from back then, just send me your emails at soulsonicproductions9@gmail.com, and I will look into it, and as soon as I get the information, I will get it out there to you. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and just remember, we don't just like old school, we live old school. And until next month, I'll be seeing you. I'm out. Peace.